We're about 2 to 3 weeks away from the when Kerala goes to polling, which is on April 6th. And right now we have with us K. Surendran, who's the state BJP chief and also contesting from two constituencies, Manjeshwaram and Koni, which is literally to the north and south of Kerala. We are in Kasargod district, which is the northern district. And I'd like to start by asking you, sir, you're contesting from two constituencies. Why is that BJP has fielded one candidate from two constituencies? What is it that you will be bringing special to both these constituencies?
Actually, the decision as per the national party decision, parliamentary board's decision. So I have to obey the party's decision. That is why contesting. But in this election, why I selected two means Manjeshwaram we lost for since 89 votes last. So that incident was widely discussed in Kerala last 5 years.
But in the bypoll election, there was a bigger margin.
And Bipole always the mode and the pattern is different from the general election. So last election, the Muslim League and CPIM has been tied up. They were together to defeat BJP, and more than 3,000 bogus votes were also casted in favor of the Muslim League. So we challenged it in the court, and finally, after the demise of the Muslim League MLA, I withdrew the case. So there is a strong intention of our party workers and public to retain this seat in Manjeshwaram.
And
Only naturally there is a what I mean, it is emotionally attached.
because of the Sabrim alliance. And what I wanted to ask you was in 2019, when Rahul Gandhi was contesting from two constituencies, you asked him that if he won in both, which one would he quit? Is it fair to ask you the same, that if you won in both, would you quit working for one constituency?
No, Rahul Gandhi's thing is different. He was thrown out from Amethi. In my case, it is not. He was the sitting MP of Amethi. I am not the sitting MLA of Manjeshwar. So that is different.
And BJP so far has one seat in the 140 constituencies, and you said that you're hoping to get about 40 seats this time, 30 to 40 seats, if I'm right. How would BJP go from one seat to 40 seat? What is the campaign strategy? What are the new things BJP is bringing in this time?
No, I am how from 0 to 50 Tripura. Tripura, if we formed government, there was no seats in last election. From 0 to 50, Tripura can go definitely 1 to 50, 30, 35, 40, definitely will go. No.
And BJP has fielded about 115 candidates, right, in this election, and about 25 other candidates who will form alliance. Now, even if you win 40 and the 25 seat, assuming you would, it would be about 65 seats, and you need a majority of 71.
I'm not mentioned about the NDA partners. If you get 35 to 40 seats, definitely the other two fronts, no, we will get, sir. In many places it happened. Why can't in Kerala?
And but is there an awareness among the BJP in Kerala that it would be difficult to come up as the winning majority party, that you'll have to form an alliance if you're coming into power?
No, no, this is only a narrative. This is only a perception. The reality is different. This time we will emerge as a strong, viable alternative to these both LDF and UDF.
So you are trying to emerge as a third front in Kerala.
Definitely, the people of Kerala in general, they are very much fed up with these two fronts, and the present government, miserably failed to serve the people, contain the COVID, and give development. Same thing happened since last 5 years, where the same woman Chandi is coming forefront of the UDF. So people are very much angry with LDF and UDF. So many intellectuals, non-political opinion makers, political party leaders are joining in large number. Since in this Vijay Yatra we started from Manjeshwar, hundreds, thousands of general public joined BJP during this yatra. The Kerala is changing. So this thing will definitely influence in this election.
One thing I want to ask you is that the church in Kerala, the Syrio Malabar Church, has expressed the same anxieties of love jihad that BJP has here. Now, before they've said they will remain firm on this stance that love jihad is a reality in Kerala. What I want to ask you is, how do you define love jihad? Because as a concept, it's not been written into law, and UP tackles it with the anti conversion law. But I want to ask you, in Kerala, how do you define love jihad?
The problem is we are not against the intercaste, interreligious marriage. But why these couples when brought to Syria? What is there in Syria? How many couples were brought to this Syria? Who is behind this? No, ISIS is behind this. So that issue we are raising. Same thing. No. The last 2 3 years, the Congress and CPM and the so-called left jihadi group were saying this is only politically motivated statement by BJP. This is a communal agenda of BJP. It is a communal agenda. Why all the Christian churches are complaining to Prime Minister about the love jihad? No, love jihad is an issue in Kerala. It is a live issue in Kerala. So
So you would define love jihad as when couples of different faiths get married and the girl is taken to Syria.
no, they were used for this ISIS propaganda. And how they come sent to Syria? This is my question.
Would there be a difference in the definition of love jihad in the north and the south? Because in love jihad, it's also when the girl is forcefully converted to a different religion and doesn't always have to mean that she's taken to Syria or becomes part of ISIS. So is there a difference in the way love jihad is defined in north and south?
The forceful conversion also is not a big issue. But in this case, the ISIS group is behind all these love jihad cases. That is why they could go there and they could work for this ISIS group in Syria.
Right. So forceful conversion is not the issue, but it's
No. I am not saying like that. No, forceful conversion in general in many places it is happening. But in this case, ISIS is behind this. Many couples were transferred to. They were now in Syria. Many mothers are crying. No, if there is an interreligious marriage, they can live here. Why they are sending to Syria? This question always we are asking.
Will BJP be prioritizing bringing in a love jihad law if they do come into Kerala?
Definitely, we will initiate legislation in this regard. I made it very clear categorically last month itself.
And with regards to cow slaughter, Kerala has been one state that hasn't been able to bring that into law. And there's been some discrepancies within your own party where Shobha Surendran and Shrikant have said that eating beef may not be an issue, but you've remained very clear on the stance that cows will not be slaughtered in Kerala. So, will that be another legislation that will come into force?
That's a prime issue because we are not against the beef eaters, but slaughtering cow is a religious issue. It's a sentimental issue. So the government and political parties have to respect that sentiments.
And will that be a priority of BJP to bring into law if they do come into power?
No, our manifesto is releasing next week. We will say that in a very clear thing.
And with regards to fuel prices, you had once said that in Kerala, people are not so concerned about the rising fuel prices. But during UPA rule, you had released your own protest against the rising fuel prices. Would you stick to the stance that the rising fuel prices now will not be a concern to citizens in Kerala, or will that be addressed as well if BJP comes to power?
Well, 2 lakh, more than 2 lakh thousand crore liability was there while the time of the regime of UPA. No, after that, Modi ji came, that full complete liability is no more now. So, how the government is utilizing the petroleum tax, this is an issue. No corruption, single paisa is not going anywhere. And one more thing, BJP in general asking that or demanding that you please put into GST. But this Kerala government and the finance minister, Mr. Thomas Isaac, is always against that. Now, that issue we are discussing here.
Last thing I want to ask you, sir. We've been spending some time in Manjeshwaram for the last 2 days, and one thing we heard is that people who've been voting for the Muslim League said that it was the CA issue that made it clear that they don't want to vote for BJP. And people who supported CPM said they're tired of religious talk. And one thing they were both sure of is that if BJP come to power, there will be a lot of communal issues in Kasargod, especially in Manjeshwaram, because of also the RSS influence of Mangalore, which borders Manjeshwaram. So I know you might say that we are not communal and that will not be the case. But what I want to really ask you is how do you plan on addressing these fears that the Muslim community has?
Always this type of baseless allegations are coming out. Since last 4 years, Karnataka is ruling by the BJP. Where is the communal issue? Where minorities were being attacked? So this is a
But
false.
how do you plan to address these fears of the people?
No. This is not a real fear. This is a created fear by left jihadi and Muslim League group.
So that was Mr. K. Surendran, who's contesting from Manjeshwaram and Koni in Kerala. Kerala goes to poll on April 6th, and we will see if he will have a winning chance or not. This is Nidhi Suresh for newslaundry.com.